Okay, so today I am going to be filming my June TBR, and you guys, I have to say, I'm incredibly excited to be filming this video because I cannot wait to start reading these books. There have been times when I film my TBRs where I'm like, okay, I'm looking forward to some of these. Some of them I just don't know. Some of these I'm really anxious about because I don't know if I'm gonna like them, but I am so excited about every single one of these books, you guys. I am so happy. Now, if you have been following my videos this year, generally speaking, pretty much for most of the months of the year so far, I've been drawing out books from a little tub thing, but I'm not doing that this time around because I wanted to choose my own books this month. So I've just chosen all of them myself, and I'm so happy. So let's just get right into it. The first book that I'm going to read in the month of June 2021 is The Gilded Ones by Namina Fauna. Now, I don't know all the genres for every single book that I'm going to be reading this month, but I know that this is a YA fantasy. The reason why I know that is because I have a goal for 2021 that I did in my goals video. I'll put a picture of it up there. One of my reading goals was to have 1 month where fantasy did not dominate the genres for that month, and that is going to be this month. This is only one of 2 fantasy books that I'm going to be reading in the month of June. Following a tribe of people where at least the women need to be tested when they come of age with their blood, and so they are pricked or sliced or something to see what color their blood runs. If it runs red, no problems at all. If it runs a different color, they're going to get executed. Apparently our main character's blood runs gold, but before she can get executed, she is taken aside by an elderly woman who tells her about an all-female army that she has put together, and that there is more to her than meets the eye. This had me so excited when I did my 2021 most anticipated new releases for the first half of the year, and I'm finally gonna read it, so I'm incredibly excited about this one. The next book that I'm going to be reading is this book, Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I'm finally getting to this book, you guys, and I'm so excited. I think I purchased this book last year at some point, and it just has not made it onto my TBR yet, but that doesn't mean that I'm not excited about it at all. In fact, I feel like I'm even more excited about it now than I would have been had I read it last year. So, in this book, the little that I recall of it anyway, we are following a guy who ends up being knocked out somehow, and he ends up in another world, but this world is completely different to his own. You know what, that is more than enough for me, and I'm incredibly excited. This is also my first Blake Crouch read, as it is my first Namina Fauna read. So I'm excited to start reading some new authors and see how I go with it. This next book is one that I have been trying so hard to read every single month that it is the 3rd book on my TBR to ensure it will be read in June, and that is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I tried to fit it in to my May TBR, but I just did not have enough time for it. But it is the 3rd book I'm reading in June, so I'm definitely going to get to it. For those of you who have either seen the show or read the books of Pretty Little Liars, apparently this book is kind of similar. We are apparently following 4 people. One of them is lying, and we're trying to work out which one it is. This makes me so incredibly excited. I have been trying to read this book for so long that it had to be 3rd on my TBR, because otherwise I might have another month where I don't read this thing that I've been so excited to read. So One of Us is Lying, 3rd book I'm going to read for June 2021. Speaking of Pretty Little Liars, my niece at the end of last year or the beginning of this year, one of the 2, ended up loaning me the complete works of the Pretty Little Liars series. Unfortunately, I just did not have enough room on my TBR last month to read book 4, and I have been eagerly anticipating book number 4 because the end of book number 3 showed me that we are getting so incredibly close to working out who the mysterious figure is that has been stalking all of the girls. For those of you who don't know, Pretty Little Liars, whether it's the book series or the show series, they're both very similar, but there are some creative liberty differences between the 2. But in either series, we have these girls who are being cyber stalked by an elusive antagonist known as A, and we're trying to work out who A is. At the end of book 3, we came so very close to figuring out who A is that I'm so excited to say the 4th book I'm going to be reading is, in June, is the 4th book in that series, which is this one, Unbelievable. So I'm very, very, very excited to get to this one. And also, while we're at it, the 5th book I'm going to be reading is book number 5 to get back on track. And so book number 5 is Wicked. So I am so, so, so happy. Couldn't get to this one last month. We'll make up for it this month, reading this one this month, and then read this one, which I already plan to read this month anyway. The next 2 books that I'm going to be reading this month are the last 2 books, the most recent 2 books that I actually purchased. Well, actually, the next 3 are the most recent 3 books that I purchased. But anyway, this is another one of my 2021 eagerly anticipated new release books that have come out. And this is a thriller. It is called Every Value Break by Peter Swanson. When I did my 2021 most eagerly anticipated books, I was so incredibly excited about this one that I'm really hoping Peter Swanson doesn't let me down. The basic premise that I remember of this book is that we're following a husband and a wife who on their wedding night are honeymooning at a hotel, and while the bride is there, she notices someone that she had an affair with against her husband, and so I'm sure that this is going to create a whole ton of drama. I've really been enjoying getting into thrillers, and while Pretty Little Liars is technically a mystery thriller YA series, I'm more loving my adult thrillers, and this is what this book is. So I'm incredibly excited to read this, can't wait to let you guys know what I think of it. The next book I'm going to read in June of 2021 is literally the most recent book that I purchased, and again, it's going to be another new author. Peter Swanson again, new author for me. Ton of new authors I'm reading this month. I'm so excited to branch out and read all these new authors that I haven't read from before, but this one I have been hearing about pretty much from day one since I started my booktube career, and I've ummed and ahed here and there thinking, should I read their works or not? And then I refer back to my 2021 goals for this year, and one of those goals is to read 6 romance books. Now, I was very specific when I was doing my goals for 2021, because when I was saying 6 romance books, I was specifically saying 6 straight romance books. The reason why I was saying that was because I have a goal also to read 12 LGBTIQ+ books. So I'm looking to read 6 books that involve romance between a man and a woman, or a boy and a girl, and I'm so happy that I'm finally going to read a book by this author. I am going to be reading Christina Lauren's In a Holidays. Now, for those of you who don't know, Christina Lauren is a name that is created using the first names of 2 separate authors. So we have Christina and we have Lauren, both of them co-author books together, romance books. From what I've heard about this one, it deals with a trope that I absolutely love, which is going back in time, very similar to Groundhog Day. So that makes me even more excited. Like, I wanted to try a Christina Lauren book anyway, but the fact that we're going to continue to go back in time, just repeat the day, makes me so incredibly excited. The next book that I'm going to read, once again, is by a new author, Mexican Gothic, and it is by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I am so excited to read this. Apparently this is a thriller as well, just like with Every Value Break. I just love this cover. I just think it's so beautiful. I wish we had the rest of her head at the top, but I love the dress. I just think it's just gorgeous. But anyway, I've heard different things here and there in a non-spoilery way, but not enough to be able to give you guys an actual premise. But I'm not going to give you a premise because I love going into books blind, so it's a thriller, so I'm incredibly excited to get to this one. The next book that I'm going to read in June is one that I'm also incredibly excited about. In fact, when I did my most anticipated books for 2021 video last year, this was the first book that came out in that video, but it's definitely not the first new release 2021 book that I end up reading, because it just took me a long time to finally track it down. The Woman Outside My Door by Rachel Ryan. Now, From what I remember about this book, we're following a mother and a son. Now, I don't know if there's a father present in the book or not, but I know we're following a mother and a son, and it turns out that the son has an imaginary friend. Cute, right? Adorable, right? That's what the mother thinks until she gets to a certain point where she starts to wonder, is this friend actually imaginary? And she starts freaking out a little bit. I am very, very, very excited to read this book, which leaves me with my classic and my Sanderson books to round off the month. And again, I chose my classic book this month. I did not randomly draw it out because I really want to start getting into the HarperCollins interactive series, which are these ones up here. If you've seen a lot of my videos, you'll recognize the one that's missing. If you haven't, my classic for this month is going to be The Beauty and the Beast. And this book is by Gabrielle Suzanne Bardot de Villeneuve, which is, what a beautiful name. But anyway, I am so excited to read this. So a lot of the books that are in this HarperCollins interactive series are books that I've seen classic films for, and I'm looking forward to reading the original works. Now, the reason why they call these books HarperCollins interactive series is because every couple of pages you have these little, like, interactive, you can't really see that, interactive little things, but that's actually not the reason why I chose this book. And I know there's probably some people out there going, you can tell the truth, Mr. Francy, that's why you got it. Actually, no, it's not. That's just a bonus. I love the look of the cover. I think the cover is absolutely gorgeous, and the spine as well. And when you put them together, these books just look absolutely adorable. If you're wondering where I got these from, these are American editions. You cannot get them in Australia. I do believe I ordered mine from Barnes & Noble. And now it is time for my Cosmere read of the month. As you can see here, in case this is the first time you're watching my videos, this is a Sanderson Cosmere bookshelf. All of the books on this shelf are from Brandon Sanderson's high fantasy Cosmere world. I have read Mistborn Era 1, I have read Elantris, The Emperor's Soul, the Mistborn Era 2, Stormlight Archives. I have, as I said, the novellas, as I showed you before, The Emperor's Soul, but I also have Mistborn Secret History. I've also read Warbreaker. I've read all those books, and I'm so excited about that I have read all those books, because I can finally move on to the White Sand series. Oh my gosh. So this series is not talked about a lot on BookTube, and I don't get why, because it's part of the Cosmere universe. So I'm very, very, very excited to finally be reading this. It is incredibly short. There are, I think, 3 volumes to the White Sands series, so my hope is that I will read Volume 1 in June, Volume 2 in July, and Volume 3 in August, and then I'll move on to the next one, which I'm having a think about what the next one's going to be. Now, the books that I'm reading this month are not as long as some of the books have been that I have read in the past. In fact, the longest book I'm reading is the first one, The Gilded Ones, which is 412 pages long, which isn't even a tome. For those of you who don't know, absolutely fine. A tome is a book that is 500 pages or more. None of these books are tomes. So, in case for whatever reason I still have more time, because they are so short, my mother has offered to do a buddy read with me in June of 2021, so I might get to that. I honestly don't remember what this book is called, but I will be listening to it on audiobook, and then if I like it, then I'll purchase it afterwards. Again, I don't remember what it's called. It's about something fire, something. Anyway, here's a picture right there. This is the book we're going to be reading, so I'm sure that I will end up having time, but if I don't, then what I'll do is I'll just push this book over to July. But my mother loves to cook, and she's been looking for a very, very long time for books that are fictional, that have a heavy influence on cooking in that fictional world. So if I have time, I'll also read this one. But anyway, those are the books I'm going to read for the month of June of 2021. If you would like to buddy read with me, I would love to have your company. And now for everyone's favorite game called Up. These are the books that I plan to get to in the month of June 2021. Which books are you planning on reading in June 2021? Let me know in the comments below. Are you excited about any of the books that I'm planning on reading? Let me know that as well. Have you read any of the books that I'm about to read? Don't spoil them, but let me know what you thought of them in the comments below. But in the meantime, that is where I am going to leave it, letting you guys go with peace, blessings, and so much love. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'll see you again soon. Mwah! Thank you so much for watching, and happy reading!